I'm gonna provoke now because now he has his ult ready. Chill, damn. Yeah, I'm sorry, but people are already asking why I didn't provoke last turn. He was no threat last turn. Hey, we did it! Boom, master! Hello, my beautiful little muglets. So I wanted to share some experiences I've had over the last week and a half. Maybe it was up to 2 weeks. We basically just started doing RTA. We went from placement matches to master, I guess, in those 1.5, 2 weeks. I think a lot of people probably did, to be totally honest, because outside of the end of season rewards, in this case, I think most everyone is just trying to get that Spectre Tenebria skin. Outside of that, there's not really any reason to play RTA outside of just fun, and just generally PvP isn't that fun for me, so yeah, I, along with a lot of other people, procrastinated. So the last couple of weeks and now these last couple of days have been pretty hectic in real-time arena because I think a lot of people were like me, procrastinating, just trying to push to master at the end because there is something in RTA called Decay. So you can't just get up to master at the start of the season to get those rewards and then just chill out for the rest of the season because you'll decay and fall back into gold or whatever. As far as decay goes, my first instinct is to be like, damn, that sucks, that's unfair. But ultimately, I would say it is a necessary evil. Like, if everyone could just push to master and then not play another RTA battle for the rest of the season, well, then that would be a lot less people playing RTA, you know, wait times would be a lot longer. That's just sort of the nature of anything where you're fighting another player in real time. So, Decay, I don't like it, but it is a necessary evil, I would say. When I asked on stream about Decay, I got so many conflicting statements. Most people were saying it's after 3 days, and then there were a few people that were extremely sure of themselves that said it was 2 days. There could have been a recent change that caused a lot of confusion. So yeah, Decay is fair. Wish they would find another way around it, like, I don't know, pairing you up with a bot if there's no one that joins within 30 seconds or whatever. Also remember, new Muglet chain reveal at 70k subs. And then of course there's RTA itself. There are a couple other games I played with a similar system, so I was somewhat familiar with the whole process. There were a couple different things like pre-banning. I don't think what was a thing, and I don't think it was a thing when we first started RTA here either. I think they added that later. So as far as pre-ban is concerned, I actually really like this because it just means if there's that one hero I do not want to fight against, do not want to see, do not have to even waste my ban on, so my, after the teams are set ban, then I can choose them. I'd say 90% of the time I'm just going with Vildred, sometimes Bizarre. It doesn't really matter because ultimately it is completely RNG. You could be banning someone that the opponent doesn't even have. You guys can both pick the same hero, so it could be completely useless or it could, potentially mess up your opponent's strategy. It's just completely RNG, but at the end of the day, I don't have to deal with Arbiter Vildreds ever in RTA if I just ban them, which is nice. So the picking heroes part, I think, is actually one of the most exciting parts of RTA. There are many times where I think, yeah, I'm gonna win, or yeah, I'm gonna lose, just based on this, so then the actual fight carries out. You can kind of play it out in your head. Of course, unexpected things can and do always happen, just because of the nature. There's a lot of RNG elements at play most of the time. I do think they did a pretty good job on balancing the RNG factor of who goes first, because whoever goes first only gets to pick one hero and then the other person gets to pick two. So honestly, I was never super bothered when they got to go first, and it didn't bother me when I went first. So I never felt strongly one way or the other. So I mean, the one that goes first pretty much gets their guaranteed pick of a hero, which of course can then just be banned by the other side anyway. So it doesn't really seem like that much of an advantage to go first. If anything, I would say going second is more of an advantage because you get to pick two heroes, You still have every hero available except up to 3 in the entire game that you have built, and you can pick 2 of them, and they can only ban 1. So unless they go for one of the ones you were planning on picking, you can grab 2 and they can only ban 1. So if anything, I would say going second is actually a bit more of an advantage. And yeah, so as it progresses, you're going back and forth selecting heroes. I know there are people out there that just pick the same 5 heroes regardless, unless, the opponent picks them or bans them. They're just gonna go with the same team every time regardless. I would say me personally, I'm halfway like that. There are some heroes I just want to take just because I have confidence in them regardless of what they're fighting. But if they're gonna throw an SSB up there, I'm gonna throw Rowana up there. Rowana is a pretty hard counter. Even though SSB can make your team unhealable, you throw the Lilies in there to cleanse that. However, I do have a problem in a lot of cases with counter picking because that just introduces a whole new level of, I'm actually not sure if this would fall under like psychology or just RNG, because I mean, I would say it falls more under RNG because you have no idea what the other person is thinking. You can assume what they're thinking, but you'll never actually be sure, you know? You could try and trick them, but maybe they'll see right through it. Maybe they won't even see the trick you're trying to trick them with, you know? So as an example, let's say I decided to stop pre-banning Arbiter Vildreds and built a Lilibet. Lilibet is probably one of the hardest straight counters to Arbiter Vildred, right? So if he picks Arbiter Vildred, I go Lilibet. All right, there's still a ban left to do. So after everything is said and done, I have a hard counter to one of his units. I would expect him to ban Lilibet, which means I should ban Arbiter Vildred. And that kind of cancels each other out. But what if he doesn't ban Lilibet? I mean, Lilibet, I guess, can still do some things, but she was there for Arbiter Vildred, you know? And then what if I'm like, okay, I'm going to ban one of these other important, dangerous units because I have the counter to Arbiter Vildred. Well, then if he bans Lilibet and I counter someone besides Arbiter Vildred because I have a counter for him, I'm also screwed. So that's kind of my stance on counter picking, though, you know, it can get very deep, I would say, because if you're like only counter picking, like, you know, if they throw up an Oxalot, you throw up a Celine or a Cerise, they go with RB, you go with Lilibet, Bazaar, Lilius, whatever. And at the end of it, it's so convoluted and confusing that they may just end up banning someone random, or whoever is capable of dealing the most damage. So on one hand, I would say the picking and banning phase is almost as exciting as the fight itself, just because you don't know what's gonna happen really. Your opponent can be having a completely different train of thought than you. And yeah, of course, again, you can try and outplay them, but they might not even get the hint of what you're going for and just ban someone random. A common strategy I've seen suggested to me a lot is to go with 2 combat pushers, like 2 hard combat pushers, ones that are built fast, like Oxalots and a very fast Cdom or a very fast Rose. Bazaar is mostly out of the question since he's pre-banned a lot, or they're gonna ban him, so it'd be kind of a waste to have like some of your best speed gear on him in my opinion. And then 2 very strong AoEs. Judge Kisa is like my one super strong AoE that can most of the time at least wipe 2 heroes out, like the dangerous ones. If there is a reviver there like Ruel or Maid Chloe or whatever, then it's a little bit dangerous. I would hope he doesn't ban Cdom in that case. But yeah, besides Judge Kisa, I don't have any super strong AoEs that can sort of live up to her damage. No Green Vildred, no Dark Vildred, no Bloodblade Karen. So that plan usually didn't work out that well because they would just ban Judge Kisa. But that kind of led me to another strategy. So what I would do is do Oxalot and Judge Kisa. Most of the time they're just gonna ban Judge Kisa because what is Oxalot's Judge Kisa without Judge Kisa, you know? But then my other 3 units were Lilius, Rowana, because they almost always chose SSB, and Zerato. Zerato is a damn beast. Everywhere, but very much in real-time arena as well. And they would almost always just ban Judge Kisa. My Oxalots at the time had 257. I got lucky with the necklace, now he's at 261. Little bit of a, I don't know if that's even a flex in the meantime with I-90s. You know, there are probably people out here with almost 300 speed on their combat dudes, but whatever. Anyway, off topic, but yeah, so my usual team that actually did really well was then Oxalots pushing into Zerato. Zerato defends, breaking them, attack breaking them. Down here in Gold / Master, not a lot of people build full immunity set teams. But yeah, they'd be defense broken, they'd be attack broken. One of their dudes would attack, Zerato would probably counter attack because there was some debuff happening. Lilius would then cleanse all the debuffs, and then at that point, SSB would counter and heal us back up to full. And yeah, it just kind of kept going like that, and you know, that was kind of a winning team for me. So I kind of repeated that a few times, had some good results. Sometimes they would just ban Oxalots, and then in that case, it's a little bit worse because my Judge Kisa is built to be with Oxalot. She is so slow, but very, very strong. So in that case, they could pick off Judge Kisa before she can go a lot of the time, and yeah. And then it's just kind of a 3-man team at that point. Then I guess we should talk about like the bruiser / tank meta. My experience with that, because I kind of have, you know, a decent number of bruisers built, like Immelkin. Wait, is that it? I almost consider Moonlight Violet a bruiser as well because he can evade a lot and it just makes him more tanky. Lilius is kind of a bruiser too because, you know, her AoE can do some solid damage as long as there's another guy with high attack there. And of course her basic dual attack adds a lot of damage onto that too, most of the time, unless, you know, like your healer or Oxalots is going to take that dual attack. My experience with that is when I would try and go more on the bruiser side, they just go cleave and kill me. So perhaps I just don't have the right bruisers for that sort of meta or team or whatever, but yeah, it just didn't really work out too well for me. Moonlight Zerato, I guess, is also a bruiser. Definitely, I would consider him like that since he life steals. Mine is actually built quite tanky, but capable of some solid damage too. You know, 2 attacks, returning debuffs, can't be stunned. But actually most of the time then they just go for single target damage dealers like Little Queen Charlotte, C-Dom, etc, etc. Which also acts as a combat pusher. But whatever, let's go ahead and move on from the picking part and to the fighting part. This works pretty much just like a normal arena battle, though your enemy can soul burn and of course make decisions on their own as they are a real person. So unlike arena where you can, you know, the AI is predictable, you can outsmart them. Like if they have a high damage dark unit, you can just put a light tank up in front or a light healer or whatever, and they'll take most of that damage, which is why I think a lot of the defensive meta in arena has been focusing on counterattacks because, you know, AI doesn't really play a part there. Also mostly tanky bruiserish teams or cleave teams where they would do the same thing on auto, you know, like with Judith or Bazaar or whatever, where they would just do their third skill and everyone else would do their third skill, and they would just be sort of speed tuned in that way that they would do the same thing if they were on auto or weren't on auto. All that sort of goes out the window with real-time arena because you have pretty much no control on what they're doing. They have all the control because you guys are on equal playing fields, which also, you know, brings a new layer of excitement to it. So yeah, there's honestly not too much to say about the battle phase. You know, it works out how you think it would. It just takes a little bit longer because, you know, they have to think, they're not AI. And of course there is a little bit of added pressure because there is that timer there. There have been a couple times where I've run out of time and my units would do what they would do on auto. That's actually never happened off stream. I would say most of the time that happens is because I'm reading chat and I just kind of forgot to make a move. So yeah, there's my excuse, but it still does add a little bit of pressure to make a decision somewhat quickly. And then of course there's the stamps. I personally have only used these maybe once or twice when I was gonna lose, maybe like a little angry sticker or whatever. And the Raz sticker where he's throwing his thumbs up. I don't know, I guess that's okay, but like any other sort of condescending haha I beat you sticker, man, I mean, I know that's the point, to like piss people off with those, like haha I win, you lose, go eat a log, whatever, okay, I get it, but damn do I hate it. I hate stickers. Because I mean, a lot of the time, like, okay, you can have some big brain plays or whatever, but I'd say a lot of the time it's gonna come down to RNG. There are so many RNG factors, not only within the picking and banning process, but also in the fight process itself. Like if you guys are both going cleave and somehow like the pick ban process works out equally good for both of you, and the other dude just had a slightly faster Bazaar or a slightly faster Oxlots than your Bazaar, well, yeah, there's also that +5, -5 combat readiness bullcrap, you know? So I'm kind of rambling now, again, off topic, but ultimately, at the end of the day, RTA is Epic 7's funnest content. I have to say that. I don't think I'm going to push to try and be like the best RTA player ever, or even like one of the best, or even like in Legends or Champion, because until they make like a real incentive to play it consistently, except for the end of season rewards. I've said this a few times, those that watch me for a while know this already, but I'm a rewards driven person, and though I don't care about cosmetics that much, I know, gasp, that Spectre Tenebria skin, I really did want it, so that was enough of a reason for me to get started in RTA and go for it and push. But I only started pushing at the end of the season because there wasn't much of a reason to do that beforehand. Unless I guess you just wanted to make it more secure, have less stress, because if you were pushing like maybe a month ago, there was less competition here in this section, you know, gold to master, because a lot of people are just doing that now. And even the higher level players that just didn't really care about RTA, kind of like myself, I guess, are pushing now. It just makes it a lot harder. So if you had started like, you know, a month, 2 months ago, you could be like in high master, and to fight off Decay, you can do one battle every couple of days, whatever. And even if you lose every single battle, you might still be in master just because you had such a high sort of head start, so to speak. So probably next season I will like burst climb to start off, maybe do those 5 instead of normal arena battles, because I actually do enjoy this much more than normal arena. Like with normal arena, you have to think before you start. Here, you already started, you already hit that button, you're already invested, and so you're forced into like somewhat quicker thinking. And I prefer that over, you know, sitting there looking at the enemy's team, trying to figure out what counters what, and then going in. So I like RTA system a lot more when it comes to that. And yeah, I actually don't think there's too much else to say, honestly. Those are my thoughts regarding real-time arena. Make sure to tell me what you think about it in the comments down below. Dropping a like on this video if you did happen to enjoy is greatly appreciated as well. Also, don't forget, new Moglet chain reveal at 70,000 subscribers. Well, that's enough begging. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.